Things are mash up again. The world turn up again. Things are mash up again. Yeah, because the whole world turn up when Pluto. All right, greetings, salutations, and good now. I'm astrologer Kevis Major, doing it major, and in this video we're going to talk about Pluto in Aquarius. I'm going to try to have a deeper dive, but I have limited experience, and we all have a limited experience of Pluto being in Aquarius, because this is the first time I'm going to experience it, and this is the first time it probably ever happened in our lifetime. And so this is a new and novel moment for civilization on a whole. Now, I want to take a more personal perspective on Pluto in Aquarius because I'm an Aquarius, and so I am feeling nervous yet excited, fearful, but hopeful for what's to come in the next 2 decades. Now, in medical astrology, because we're going to talk more exoteric, more external, and then we're going to get more esoteric, internal, spiritual. So in medical astrology, Pluto rules transformation and regeneration, and the anatomy's hidden mechanisms, which include the reproductive system, the immune system, and the processes of detoxification and cell regeneration. In autonomy, Pluto is linked to the organs that deal with waste elimination, such as our bladder, the colon, the kidneys, and other parts of the endocrine system that govern hormones, particularly those affecting our sexual health and bodily renewal, certain bodily fluids, and even the cleansing of our blood. So this is going to be a time where we could take power and control over our health on a deeper level. Pluto brings destruction, and so we are going to be urged to tear down different beliefs and practices that even hinder our best health and that works for our best well-being. And so I already highlighted certain major components to our vitality that Pluto heavily governs, which is important to our life. Like, if we don't have proper ways of eliminating the waste, then that's just going to fester a whole lot of bad energy, bad bacteria, parasites, a whole lot of junk that's just going to clog up our systems and cause a whole bunch of health issues. And so, Pluto is going to be urging us to take our health more serious, because it's going to be our detriment if we don't. Heavy emphasis on detoxification, heavy emphasis on cleaning your body, thoroughly cleaning your body too. A heavy emphasis on having those internal organs working sufficiently so that when the time is right, you could be able to bring forth life into this world. So, Pluto doesn't play, because for females, a whole bunch of issues surrounding the womb and the reproductive system. I know that even here in St. Kitts and in the Caribbean, just because of our diets and so forth, a whole lot of fibroids and, issues relating to, getting children. Even with the men, a lot of men experience difficulties in the bedroom, and so this plutonic energy and this shift is going to cause a real upheaval, and even situations of crisis within our anatomy if we don't, take power and control into our own hands and be able to transform our life and our habits and our tendencies that could propel us to better health and having all of those systems that we were talking about to run sufficiently. Let's get a bit more deeper now on a more emotional and psychological level, because the influences are going to permeate the whole stratosphere and that's going to you know what I'm saying, be affecting our internal self. So that urges us to confront our hidden fears, our desires, and certain patterns. Emotions often trigger intense reactions, and transformations could be a bit unearthing. So you could see how, if you're deeply rooted in certain habits, tendencies, practices, routines, transformation could be scary. And Pluto is going to be urging that. Pluto stimulates a desire for personal control. So right now we could even be becoming a bit more compulsive or obsessive when it comes to, people, places, situations, and circumstances that we surround ourselves with. But it's also going to be pushing us to confront trauma and, urging us to heal and release our tight grip hold of certain things that we hold on to that we think are necessary or very important to our life. But Pluto is going to come and show us that, hey, what I'm saying, you don't need that. You don't need that. All you need is you. All you need is what's real and what's authentic. And so Pluto sheds what's unnecessary. Pluto sheds what's fake. Pluto sheds what's unauthentic. And it allows a situation for rebirth. But this rebirth comes after, the great upheaval and the doom and the gloom and the chaos and catastrophe and destruction and deconstruction. You need to have that process first. You need to have the pain before you could see all of the glory and all of the honor and understanding and overstanding. All right, so let's get more into the influences, because the influences of Pluto is going to heavily affect Aquarius's. And so as Pluto moves into Aquarius, this is going to be bringing a lot of transformative energies, a lot of destructive energy, with the capabilities to rebuild, combined with Aquarius's focus for individuality, freedom, liberty, expression, but also community, and being forward thinking, and having innovative ideas that are sustainable. This shift brings radical change to how we connect emotionally, socially, politically, and it heightens our focus when it comes to the mental and technological space. Because again, Aquarius being an air sign deals with logic, communication, being social, and ear-like qualities. This is going to heavily, heavily, heavily affect the other air signs, as it's going to be training, opening up a gift for these destructive influences to penetrate that space and, affect the Geminis and the Libras. So this is going to be a very, very transformative time for all Geminis and all Libras, and especially the Aquariuses. Here's the kicker. You don't need to let Pluto change and destroy and break down situations for you. You need to be able to take that power and control for yourself. Otherwise, Pluto is going to do it for you. And so it's a time for us to step into our own spirituality, our own powers, and, take power and control over the aspect or the house that Pluto is in. And so that's why Pluto through the house is going to be very important, and that's going to be in the next video. All right, so Geminis, Leos, not Leos. Well, Leos are going to be affected, but we are talking about the air signs. So those are the Geminis and the Libras, heavily affected when it comes to, their mental states, intellectuality, social transformations, and how they approach relationships and their mental health. The fixed signs are going to be heavily influenced or affected: Leos, Tauruses, Scorpios, Aquariuses, because Pluto is going to square or oppose or conjunct these signs. And the conjunction is quite powerful, but the square and oppositions are usually seen as negative aspects. And so that's something for us to, look out for. We're going to be doing a lot more videos on Pluto, because this is definitely going to be profound and impactful for me personally. All right, so on the positive aspects of this transit, there is a lot of hope and positivity when it comes to rebirth in society. And so Pluto in Aquarius is going to bring a psychological healing to communities, encouraging collaboration, innovation, coming together, and just a wholesome therapeutic way of mending all of the wounds that our communities have faced collectively over the past decades, especially again when it comes to those collective traumas that we all experience. It's going to be individual, but Aquarian qualities broadens our perspective, and so it's not 100% selfish, but self is at the center of it all. The negative aspects, which there are going to be many, just because there's certain, let's say, corporations and families and groups that are going to want to use this transit for their own agendas. And so there is going to be intense social and emotional pressure, a lot of conflict, psychological stress, where, a lot of people are going to suffer and go through isolation or feeling otherness or feeling alienated. That's a better word. Feeling ostracized. Aquarius is sometimes are known as the aliens, and so if you're on not necessarily the opposite end, because you could just be doing your own thing and find yourself being on the other side, and so people are going to have to learn how to adapt and react rapidly to changes. Otherwise, it's just gonna be too late. And it's hard, because on my mind I'm just thinking about like the wars that are happening, and you could just be born into being on the other side, or being alienated, or being the enemy. So again, like, it's going to be increased social conflict, increased situations of being against the agenda of the people, groups, organizations, countries that are in power. Pluto darkens the aspect of Aquarius and may bring out control issues and extremist tendencies, particularly relating to the loss of autonomy, freedom, liberty, individuality, and this is going to cause a lot of rebellion and extremism, and make people just want to fight against anything that is hindering you from being human and having this human experience to the fullest. Now, there's a lot of things in this human experience that as a collective we have deemed evil, inappropriate, against the law, and man, like, I don't even want to go there. But Pluto in Aquarius calls for us to dive deeper into our psyche and collective consciousness in some way, shape, or form. It's inviting personal transformations through mental empowerment and healing, and being the pioneer of your destiny. However, there is a great, I don't want to say threat, because the technology that is about to roll out could be a threat, but could be the thing that really ushers us into a next evolution of this human experience that we're having. Climate change is real, because when you look at places like India, even Taiwan of old in the past, there are places that have smog and smoke just all over. You understand me? And we could feel the effects even here on our island. The place is quite hot and the weather patterns were shifting and becoming different. And so, will the technology that is to come help us to curb these issues? Are we going to finally have 100% concrete proof that these space travels are going to help us as a human species to transcend, or to just get through this destructive period that we're going through? Wars and rumors of wars, and we only need one nuke to go off, and then, you know what I mean? So will that be happening in this Pluto and Aquarius time, when Aquarius is speaking about the collective and Pluto is speaking about death and destruction? All right, guys, we're gonna be here for it. And again, in the eyes of the gods, the destruction, the chaos, the doom, the death is temporal, and life is always going to go on. So there's going to be rebirth, there's going to be reconstruction, there's going to be building up of new empires and new consciousness and new civilizations. Anyway, man, major farewell until we meet or greet again. I'm hopeful about Pluto in Aquarius. I'm welcoming Pluto in Aquarius as an Aquarius. And all of the Aquariuses, we need to be strong, confident, bold. And it's a time for us to upgrade. You understand me? Because once we take power and control over our psychology, our emotions, our anatomy, I'm saying that accidents do happen, but you know, we could be making quantum leaps into the future, and bringing the future into the present. All right, major farewell until we meet and greet again. I'm astrologer Kevis Major, doing it major.